How do digital credentials influence job market dynamics and create opportunities for employability in a European context?
Well, as you said before, digital credentials can help build more granular learning pathways. So it's basically a way to support continued learning and a way to showcase your growth and your current skill level, and also a way to easily assess where the gap is depending on where you want to be. And I think if we look at hospitality, for instance, a lot of people left hospitality sector during COVID due to, hotels didn't have any guests and amusement park didn't, there was no rides open and, all that. So of course that sector was heavily hit during COVID, and a lot of people left the sector and didn't not all of them came back. So they're right now looking into how can we reskill and upskill this workforce, and how can we do that in a way that motivates them to stay with us in this specific sector. So right there, we are part of a European project focusing specifically on creating learning paths, skills-based training, and a way to have employees showcase an up-to-date skill representation, but also this assessment of the gap, so we can easily figure out, how can you go from here to here by, doing, 1 or 2 or 3 courses, depending on your aspirations. Also, it's a great way for employers to sit down with employees and talk about where they are and where they want to be, and quickly assess, okay, if you want to do that, then you can do this, and this, and with your actual level of work experience, which is also a skill that can be applied. Part of it, so it's not only training patient, but also experience in a certain position that can give you skills that can be stacked together with your other, educational skills that you achieved. So I think this is certainly something that's helping that agenda along.
I'd like to kind of break that down a little bit more about how the digital credentials are actually being matched with like current and future requirements within an industry. So like how industries are evolving and changing, and how do digital credentials, or how are hiring managers and the leadership teams, how do they match current and future job requirements to align with the industry's needs?
Today, there's still no, other than LinkedIn, probably a global tool for looking at skills. LinkedIn is definitely a great place to go to look up skills of an individual. The thing about those skills is that they are mostly self-applied, so I can basically add any skill on my profile that I want. And then my network can say, yes, Kim is good at writing or communicating or strategic leadership or whatever, but it hasn't been assessed by anyone. So it's basically a claim without, validity other than the proof of my network saying, yes, it's great, Kim. Kim is my best friend. He's a really great leader. So there's still no global tool for this, but that is where the digital credentials setup actually plays a vital role for recruiters and employers to actually assess whether or not do I actually have the skills I claim. And if you go, I think we spoke to a recruitment agency just recently, and I think according to their data, 25% of all LinkedIn profiles have some kind of, I wouldn't say they're fake, but maybe they were a project assistant, but on their resume it says project manager. Right? And so it's just a little, they're not lying. It's just, not telling the full story necessarily. So if you were a project manager, then you would have a totally different skill level than a project assistant, because it's not so much about only doing parts of the project. It's also managing the project also from an economical perspective, managing people, managing. So it's a totally different skill level. So being able to assess that with a set of digital credentials, saying, okay, we can see that you have, based on both your experience, but also your education profile, you have assessed and qualified skills that brings you to this specific level. That would enable them to hire that person, even though they didn't have the qualification. They could see that, okay, if we think this is a good fit for our organization on a culture level, they actually show the willingness to learn. And they lack only, a few competencies to actually reach this level. So we can teach them that, or we'll make sure that they can join those courses down the road, and then we can help them grow.